Chapter 2, Solving Equations. Okay, these videos are made for students in case we go remote or if you've been absent. So they're going to be a little more rapid than what we do in class. We're just going to look at this. We're in section 2.1, Solving One-Step Equations. Let's remember in algebra, what we want to do is we always want to do the opposite or the inverse operation. Over here on this side, we can see we have y plus 2 equals negative 6. Now the goal is to get the variable, to get the y by itself. So we have a y plus 2. We have to do the inverse operation by subtracting 2 from each side. Now notice with the equal sign, we could draw a line right down here. We want to subtract 2 from each side of the equation and then put an equal sign so it's in line kind of with the two sides here. What happens is this positive 2 and negative 2, because they're inverse, they cancel each other out, and we get y equals negative 6 minus 2, which is y equals negative 8. Okay, the next one, we have an m minus 8 over here. So we're trying to get the variable m by itself. So we have to think to ourselves, what do we need to do the inverse? We have to add 8 to the left side and add 8 to the right side. Now, I usually draw a line. Over here, I didn't draw a line last time, but I usually do. I try to keep my equal sign in line with the other equal sign, so straight down there. So that helps me know there's two different halves. And then what I get here is I get m all by itself because the negative 8 and the positive 8 cancel each other out. And we have negative 4. Sorry, I'm marking up my screen here. We have negative 14 plus 8 is negative 6. Okay, this one's a little different because the variable's on the other side. Now that 8 would be a positive 8. So to do the inverse operation or the opposite of that, we would subtract 8. On this side, we would get 2. We'll keep the equal sign in line, so we're straight up and down. And over here, we would get y. Now, you can rewrite it. Most students do, and they write y equals 2 so that it looks the same as the other problems. That's using the symmetric property that the two halves are equal. Over here, what we need to do next is we need to add 7. That gets the h all by itself, and h equals 13. Hopefully this is a review because it's your second time through algebra, so that should be pretty fast. Okay, now the next one, again, we have to do the inverse operation. So on there, everything was addition and subtraction. Here we've got an x on this side, on the right side, but what we want to do is we want to get that x by itself. What is happening to that x? We're not going to add 15. It is a negative 15, but adding 15 won't get rid of that 15 because the 15 is right next to the x. So what we want to do is we're going to divide by negative 15. Now in algebra, to show division, we do this. We take it and we divide 10 divided by negative 15 on that side. This side, these two negative 15s, when the same number is divided by itself, it gets us 1. So this side becomes 1x. On the other side, what we get is we get 10 divided by negative 15. Now you might have to say, how do I reduce that? We can reduce it by dividing this by 5 and dividing this by 5. So we get a 2 over a 3, and it's actually a negative 3. But the way we usually write it, we put the negative in front of there. So that one would be negative 2/3. Now if you did use a calculator, and you put negative 0.6, it would be a repeating 6 when you take 2 divided by 3, and that would be okay as well. Okay, now this one, we have to do the opposite or the inverse operation. And right now it is x divided by 9. So the opposite or the inverse operation would be to multiply by negative 9. So I'm going to put it in parentheses. Makes it easier when I put it in parentheses. And what happens, this side will become x because this 9 would be in the top. And it'd be negative 9 divided by negative 9. Those two would get me just a 1x over here. You can put the 1x if you want temporarily. We usually don't write that. On this side, we'd have 8 times negative 9, and that would be negative 72. So this answer is x equals negative 72. Oops. Okay, so I would encourage you to pause the video, try the next two on the guided notes, and then see if you can get these two right. I don't pause the video because otherwise it makes the video too long. So here it's 3.2z, so that would be 3.2 multiplied by z. So the opposite of multiplying is dividing. So I show division by putting a underline underneath it and dividing by 3.2. This side gets me just z because the 3.2 divided by 3.2 is 1. So that's 1z. And then I have 14 divided by 3.2. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up a calculator. It's okay if you use your calculator on whatever you're on to figure these out. I don't know if my calculator is showing in the video. I get 4.375, and I would just go ahead and leave all those decimals. It's not a hard one to put down. Okay, now this one, I'm going to rewrite this one first. I'm going to flip things around. R over 3 equals 19. It doesn't matter if you do that first or not, or if you do it at the end, but let's understand this is R divided by negative 3. So I'm going to multiply this side by 3 over 1. I'm going to multiply this side by 3. 3 over 1 and 3 are the same thing. This 3 divides by that 3. It gives me just 1r. On the other side, it gives me 19 times 3. It gives me 57. Again, you can check that if you have a calculator. 19 times 3, 57. Okay, example 3. Now this one, when there are fractions, this one is 4 over 5m equals 28. There's a couple ways you can do this one. Okay, I'm going to show you the fastest way first. This may be the way you want to do it. So I'm going to do this one in red, and then I'll back up. The fastest way when you have a fraction multiplied by a letter is to multiply by the reciprocal. The reciprocal means you flip it over. So instead of 4 over 5, you multiply by 5 over 4. And I have to, if I multiply that side by 5 over 4, I multiply this side by 5 over 4. Why? The 5 divided by 5, those two divide and make 1. They cancel out and get us 1. And 4 divided by 4 gets us 1. So this side would just be m now. Now the other side, I have to take 28 times 5/4. Now if you have a school calculator, those work pretty nice. You could actually just type this into your web browser and do that. But 28 times 5 divided by 4 is 35 is what that should get. Now, some students don't like it that way. There is another way to do it. That is the easiest way to do it. I'm going to tell you, if you can learn how to do that, that is probably the best way. But another way, you could multiply by 5 first, since there's a 5 in the bottom. And if you do that, you're going to get 4m. Those 5s go away. This side becomes 140. And then you could turn around and divide by 4. But now if you think about it, that's the same thing. You multiplied by 5 divided by 4. All right, this one is a negative 3/4. So I'm going to multiply by negative 4 over 3. Again, it's the reciprocal, the flipped over fraction. So this one I'm going to multiply by negative 4 over 3. And this side becomes x. And that side, we have 12 times negative 4 over 3. I couldn't get the negative in there on my screen. If you're looking at this, it should end up getting us negative 16. So x is negative 16. Okay, this one, the reciprocal would be 3 over 1. Now, 3 over 1 is the same thing as 3. So this one, 3 over 1, gets us w on this side, and 5 times 3 over there is 15. You could do that. You can try it in a calculator. You can do it this way, and that would be fine. Missing the fourth example, so I'm going to have to find that here quick. Paste it in. Here we go. Okay, so this one, a little bit of word problems here. It says define your variable. So what does that mean? Define your variable. You have to pick a variable like X or Y or whatever it is. Okay, let's read the problem. Write and solve an equation. An online DVD rental company offers gift certificates you can use to purchase rental plans. You have a gift certificate for $105. The plan you select costs $7 per month. How many months can you purchase? So first, I'm going to pick a letter. I'm going to say M is the number of months. Now, I use that number symbol like you would see on a telephone to symbolize number. M is the number of months, and it's 7 per month. So 7 per month would be written like this, 7 times N. M, it costs us $7 for every month, and we have $105 to spend. So 7M equals 105. That would be our equation that we would have. Now we want to figure out how many months. So this is 7 times M. We're going to do the opposite. We're going to divide by 7. And M should be 15. So that gift certificate should help us for 15 months. Toucans and blue-yellow macaws are both tropical birds. The length of an average toucan is about two-thirds the length of a blue macaw. Toucans are 24 inches long. So, what is the length of a macaw? So I'm going to go again, M. M is the length of a macaw. And you might say, well, how do you know which one is your variable? It's always what the question is. It's asking what is the length of the macaw. So I'm going to use M for that. But then I'm going to reread this. The length of a toucan is 2/3 the length of a macaw. So 2/3 of macaw equals a toucan. And then it does tell me a toucan is 24. So 2/3 of macaw equals 24. Now we want to set this one up. I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal, multiply by 3/2. Again, the 3's cancel each other, the 2's cancel each other. That gives me M on this side. It's 24 times 3 divided by 2. You can do that in a lot of orders. 24 times 3 divided by 2 gets us 36. So 36 inches. And that ends the notes for this one. Hopefully you can catch up on notes with this video. Thanks for watching.